A lot of penalties in the first half.
Eagles will kick off from left to right, and the Cowboys in their home white jerseys defending far right. David Adams and Alvin Bunt. This will be David Adams. 5'6", 170-pound David Adams from Arizona gets the ball out to the 25-yard line where Copper Clemens made the tackle for the Eagles. And Danny White comes onto the field. Danny White comes in at quarterback to some scattered boos from this partisan rhinestone Cowboy crowd. Maybe these aren't the real Cowboy fans here. These are the rhinestone Cowboy fans.
Boy, I'll tell you something. You just see everything in a game like this. The reason why Landry's doing this, I'm sure, is to get White some work. He's been in. He may as well give him a little bit of work. Also, Tony Dorsett is in the game.
Tony Dorsett has a play-action fake to him and a pass out the right side to Gerald White, a rookie from Michigan. Gains about 7, maybe 8 yards on the play. Dorsett is in at tailback, and Landry sending in the play with number 47 Chuck Scott, a wide receiver. Now Dorsett, his attitude quite clear. He said during the week that he preferred not to play in this game. He didn't want to be carrying the ball and running up yards in his pursuit of Jim Brown's rushing career record. But he said, if I step over those white lines, I'm going to give it the best that I can. That's the only way I know how to play. See whether he gets to carry the ball, and he does. And he is greeted by boos on his first carry of the day.
I think
that is a somewhat shocking development.
Well, you know, what's happened, I really believe, is that the people in the stands have grown accustomed and grown an affinity towards these replacement players. These young guys have been out there trying to do a job in the Cowboy uniforms. Now you've got the veterans who are really just trying to do their job because the coaches said, look, I want you in the ball game, sort of getting the blunt end of the deal.
2nd and 5. For the first down to another chorus of boos.
You know, one thing about Tony Dorsett, which I think speaks very highly of the type of person he is, he came in, obviously he said that financial considerations were one of the reasons and the main reason, if not the only reason for him to come in. But he said, listen, he said, I have offered. There are some guys out on the picket line that are young, that are getting in financial trouble, that, you know, won't be able to meet rents and stuff. He says, heck, I'm willing to help them out if I can. I have to be here because of my financial needs, but I wouldn't want to see anybody go down. I mean, there's a real compassionate side, and he's got to be living with a lot of torn emotions out on that field this afternoon.
Well, his emotions have got to be torn by those boos. Late to Chuck Scott, a second-year man from Vanderbilt. And a first down, Cowboys at the 40-yard line. So Danny White getting some playing time. Tom Landry said that, you know, he felt these guys needed to play. After all, you have to allow for the fact that the strike could be over. There could be regular football next week, and you can't have these guys just practicing for 3 weeks. That was his notion, to try and get them some playing time. But on the other hand, he wanted to start with the guys who won last week, and he did so.
It's simply serious business. That's all there is to it.
1st and 10 at the Eagles 40. Dorsett. More boos. Pickup of 6. Chuck Gorecki made the tackle, number 51, a linebacker from Boston College. Well, if Gorecki does not appear again in an NFL uniform, he can tell everybody he stopped Tony Dorsett. 2nd and 5 from the 35 of the Eagles.
This looks like one of those great chances to just go up top to Kelvin Edwards and see if you can put some points on the board.
Troy West blitzing from the outside. The strong safety nailing White for a loss of 6.
And that's where White was going. It was a play-action pass to Dorsett. They tried to get Kelvin Edwards down the field one-on-one. But the Eagles, listen, they may have fired the Eagles up by putting White and Dorsett in this football game. Emotions mean an awful lot in the game. And I think the fact that they put those veterans on the field, the Eagles If you want to play that way, watch this.
Dorsett has been replaced, and that was met with applause. Third down. 12 yards to go. Shotgun. White for Edwards. What a catch inside the 5. Kelvin Edwards splits Angelo James and Jeff Griffin.
You'll see on the left part of your screen, Danny White in the shotgun. As Kelvin Edwards moves down, he runs a simple corner pattern, and he beats Griffin and Angelo James as White just hangs the ball up. You see him go back to the corner. James loses his footing, and Griffin can't get there. This is big-time football right here. That's a big-time catch. You can call this thing anything you want, replacement or otherwise, but that's a big-time football catch. This is here. Take that.
Kelvin Edwards out of Liberty Baptist. Some early movement. Looked like it was on the part of the Cowboys. Sal Cesario, and there's some Scab fans in attendance here today.
Guard, 5 yards, still first down.
It is charged against the Cowboys. Backs it up to the 10-yard line. Edwards said about being cut from the Saints, he said, you know, they like to throw the ball inside. They really didn't give me much of an opportunity as a wide receiver. And that the offense of the Saints wasn't really suited to his talents. And he wasn't all that unhappy about being out of there, but he was going to go back to being a phys ed teacher. That's what he wanted to do. He couldn't play football and then got a shot with the Cowboys. White is 3 for 3 passing here in this second half.
You're going to see Tony Dorsett. He takes a little stutter step. Again, the same situation we had before. That's Sikowski, Steve Sikowski, kicking out and leading the way. And I don't know, you know, Tony, he went in just to the little corner of the end zone. He didn't want to run all the way in. I think it affects him as much as anything. The trouble with this is if the game gets really out of hand, who do you put in? I mean, you've started with the replacement guys. Now you've got your vets in. Normally they want to give other guys playing time. Landry's going to go back with the other guys.
And Dejas with a point after, and a mixed chorus of boos and cheers for the Dallas touchdown.
And White, what they're going to do is they're going to block and kick out small. Tony's going to take a little step here and just go into the corner of the end zone because he doesn't want it to be a real live big-time touchdown. There goes the block. There's the big block. There's the one up front, and now he just outruns the entire Eagle defense. You notice how he just went into the corner of the end zone. Just wants to count a little bit. I mean,
still got 6 points.
Yeah, but he's really got to have some big emotions going on inside of him.
You bet. Then Dejas with the kickoff. That is Kevin Bowman. Bowman's got some running room. All down at the 35-yard line, and that was a good block on that touchdown play by Steve Cieszkowski, number 77. He's from Santa Clara, and you can see the fans of the Rhinestone Cowboys, or the Scab Boys, are raising the fist there and cheering the score, 34-10. Doug Todd, the PR director of the Cowboys, told us that Sal Cesario and Steve Cieszkowski were seen seated side by side on the 727 stretch from San Jose. These two guys have
Ordered 7-Up.
G-Cell seashell sitting by the seashore.
Right.
But Cesario and Cieszkowski are the starting offensive linemen, along with Mike Zentik, Bob White, and Darrell Smith. Those are not household names on the Cowboys, but they've been doing the job on the offensive line today. Now the Eagles fake the reverse, and Reggie Brown keeps out the right side. The ball is loose. Cowboys have it, lose it, have it again. Dale Jones takes it all the way inside the 5. Fumble by Reggie Brown, and the Cowboys can now certify a rout.
There you're going to see they fake the reverse again. Reggie Brown fakes it. He gets hit. Gets nailed right there by Armstrong, and Mike Dwyer making the hit. Now this is when the fun starts. Dale Jones picks it up, does a little somersault. That's for effect. Now he kicks over. Now his teammates continue to push him down. Now he lowers his shoulder. Woo! Here he goes again. Ed Jones has a shot at it. This is the one right here. Now that's tough to teach. That's tough to teach a replacement guy to do.
Dale Jones from Tennessee. First and goal, Cowboys. White the quarterback. Blunt for the score. Alvin Blunt. His second touchdown of the afternoon.
There you see everybody's down in front. This is just some power blocking. This is the difference. You see Sadowski kick out. There he goes. Blunt just buries himself, knows where the blue is, winds up with 6.
And Dejas for the point after. A busy young man today. Flags everywhere. Now a little extracurricular activity there. Number 62, the center, Mike Zentik. I think these guys aren't fired up. Their opportunity to play in the bigs, however short-lived, and still emotions running high, and even one of the officials getting into the middle of that, and that is
that's just a classic example of emotion.
Defense.
That's just a classic example of frustration and emotions. You know, you want to do well, you want to show well. You're coming off of a big defeat last week, and now you come out here and it looks like it's going the other way, and just a snowball.
Andy Ansich was the fortunate official in the middle of that, trying to break things up. You're looking at Elo Grooms,
who's got to ask himself next week why. Ask himself this week why.
Out of football all last year, tried out with the Raiders, took himself out of their camp when he saw the writing on the wall, and got this opportunity with the Eagles and took it. Paycheck. Then Dejas nails it again. On the second attempt a little farther back. And it's 41-10, Cowboys. Joe Theismann back here at Texas Stadium, where the Rhinestone Cowboys, with the help of a few of the Diamonds out here on the regular Cowboy roster, have opened a 41-10 lead over the Eagles. Erzat's variety.
You know, I think the one thing that shows with White and Dorsett in the game is really the difference in the replacement players and the quality of the guys that play in the National Football League. I mean, the level of play is so different. It's truly like JV and varsity or freshman and varsity ball.
This is Kevin Bowman. Bowman battles his way to the 25-yard line. Wrestled down by Dale Jones. He's the man who picked up that fumble. Well, for the amusement of the fans here, in case they're getting bored with the events in this football game, they have this on Diamond Vision here, and it's a 40-yard dash.
Who do you like?
And I like 71.
Now you do.
I picked 19 while this was happening here during our commercial, and Joe picked 71.
Yes, I finally have made a decision where the guy finished ahead.
And
the star finished ahead.
Well, the Cowboys and their organization are pulling out all stops to entertain their fans of the Rhinestone. Tinsley complete out to Alvin Ross. And only a couple of yards on the play as he's hauled down by the middle linebacker Russ Swan from Virginia. Second and 8. We got the wave going here for the Rhinestone Cowboys now. Eagles struggle up to the 30-yard line, and give you an idea of what's going on elsewhere in the NFL today. We're going to take you to the St. Louis-New Orleans game, and we'll rejoin our game shortly. Right now, let's go to that one. The crowd amusing themselves with the wave, and the Eagles marching upfield. Mike Ciano made 2 catches on this drive of the Eagles into Cowboy territory at midfield. Bailey in motion. Alvin Ross trying to get to the first down on 2nd and 1. He'll be close. Mike Dwyer makes the hit.
He's not hard to find. All you have to do is look for the guy with his fist in the air. If the ball's down and he's close, he'll let you know.
Most fun he had talking about his previous career was the time in high school when he intercepted the quarterback shovel pass and ran it into the score.
Had a dream like that. His father used to kid him all the time. His dad scored one, and all of a sudden he got one.
Well, he'd love to have something like that happen out here today, but here's the authentic case of just happy to be here. That's Mike Dwyer, number 71, having a ball. They'll measure this one. Just short. The Eagles will have 3rd down as we see the armadillo here whipping up the Rhinestone fans. Now remember, we can't really emphasize enough the fact that whatever you think of what's happening out here, folks, it counts. Dallas will move to 3-1, barring a miracle by the Eagles, who will fall to 1-3. And look at the champion Giants off to an 0-3 start. They have Washington later today here on our CBS doubleheader coverage. Some of you will see San Francisco and Atlanta. So it becomes a crucial game for the New York Giants. And they're playing with substitutes and not too many good ones at that. That is Copper Clemens stuffed at the line of scrimmage by the linebacker Chris Dulabon. But he may have gotten the first down with forward progress.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't?
No, he didn't.
We're not going to bet on this, too, are we?
No, we're not. But they nailed him solid. I don't believe. Again, I think Buddy Ryan's in the same situation. He's going to have to go for it here on 4th. Obviously, you're down by 1,000. You're going to have to go for it. 4th down and inches.
Got a football they need.
You know, we saw before San Francisco and Atlanta playing later today, the 49ers probably have, of all the replacement teams, the best group of guys playing in this replacement season because they have so many of their true starters in. Montana went in, Craig went in,
I wonder if they'll use all those guys today. Be interesting to see whether they have the Landry attitude. First down for Alvin Ross. Free agent, cut by Tampa Bay. He's from Central State, Oklahoma. What does he do when he's not playing replacement football? He assembles X-ray equipment. I'm glad to see the guys that do have real second jobs. I mean that seriously, you know, because after all, while they're having fun and some of them really believe they might get a job and some of them probably will, most of them won't. They're going to have to go back to the real world, and it's nice to see they've got some real jobs. This is deep for Bowman. Nice try by Bowman, but good coverage by number 31, Bill Hill, out of Rutgers. Stride for stride with Kevin Bowman. Bowman tried to catch it over Hill's back.
Well, we saw the big touchdown catch that Bowman made before. Now here he goes up again. He does an excellent job of timing. He's just a little bit further away. Hill gets his hands in and manages to knock it off. But Bowman, you know, he's another one. He's an impressive one. Otis Grant is impressive. Of course, for the Cowboys, Calvin Edwards has just lit this place on fire.
2nd and 10 Eagles at the Cowboy 46-yard line. Nice catch.
Oh, no. That's part of
Mike Ciano.
Believe me, the part of that is the throw in this one. Tinsley got absolutely leveled. The kitchen sink fell on this guy. He still hung in the pocket. This is what it's like being a quarterback in the National Football League Replacement League. There he is. He sets. Now they just come flying. Now there it is. Boom. Now there's another case of never seeing the ball get caught.
That was Tommy Haynes, followed immediately by Randy White. Now, I would think if you're up 41-10, you might take that front 4 out, wouldn't you think?
I was just going to ask you that. I mean, you got Jones in there, still White in there. I don't understand Landry's thinking of this stuff. I mean, how much more work does he want to get Smerrick and White and Jones? I mean,
well, one of his problems is he's only got one other guy dressed, Randy Watts. I just realized, looking at this roster, Kevin Brooks had crossed the line, but he had a knee injury and was unable to go. So they really haven't got anybody else. They got Rayotis, Perkins, and Randy Watts. But On the other hand, I would think he'd want to stick those guys in. Watts has played some.
But still, I mean, you know, you're still only going to get one of your starters out, so.
2nd and 8. The Bowman and Bill Hill. And since he came into the game, the Cowboys' pass defense on the corner has been a little tougher. He replaced Robert Williams, the starter.
Well, he gets away from Hill at the line of scrimmage, but as the ball comes in, Hill knocks away, and then Tommy Haynes just flat nails him. You just don't want to hang the ball up for anybody in any league, and that's why right there. It's just like a good right cross.
3rd down and 8. They go to the shotgun now. Tinsley. Pressure and just throws it away. The flag comes down, and with Watts from Catawba leading the charge, Ed Jones right with him. Too tall and Watts. And there is Tinsley saying to the official, hey, I had a receiver to throw to.
Yeah,
that ought to be an incomplete pass.
He knows
Potential grounding, penalized for start of the pass, 4th down.
He knows how to plead his case.
He lost the argument.
Listen, there wasn't one I won in the league either.
So the Eagles, who had a fairly good little drive going there, are now forced to punt. Dave Jacobs. Cornell Burbage, the deep man at the 10-yard line for the Cowboys.
This is one place it looks like the Cowboys decided to take a little pressure off. They're setting up for a return, so they're going to let Jacobs kick the ball.
Right, he kicked it well. Fair catch signal. They'll let that bounce to the 5. It comes back upfield. And now we'll be down at the 2-yard line. So the Cowboys will start from in a hole when we return to Texas Stadium. At Texas Stadium, there's the score, 41-10. The Rhinestone Cowboys beating up on the Eagles. Right now, to get a look at what's going on. Tim Ryan and Joe Theismann at Texas Stadium. The Eagles have just scored on a touchdown pass from Scott Tinsley to Mike Ciano from 13 yards out. The point after was missed, and that made it 41-16. And it'll be 1st down from the 20-yard line following the kickoff down in the end zone. And Lauren Snyder is the 3rd Rhinestone Cowboy quarterback to appear today. Well, 2nd Rhinestone, because Danny White was the 2nd
he's a
quarterback
gem.
in the game.
He's
Right.
a gem. You can't count him.
That's right. He's a diamond. And he is from northern Colorado, 6'4", 207-pound rookie. Was in the Cowboys camp, along with 35 other players on this replacement roster. Number 18. That is David Adams, the running back from Arizona, 12th round choice of Indianapolis this year, released by the Colts.
You can rest assured of one thing, that the Eagles are not going to fold their tent and just let the Cowboys run up and down on them. Buddy Ryan has developed a sense of pride, no matter who's in those green uniforms, that they're going to go out and play their hardest and their best. To be truthful about the whole thing, it's a mismatch. I mean, the score is indicative of the guys that can play in the league and the guys that weren't quite there.
Time winding down here to end the quarter, and the gun sounds. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Dallas Cowboys 41.
Just to the coach he's talking to, behind the coach that's standing in front of it, is Ben Agajanian. There's Ben. I talked to Ben yesterday. He said, you know something? The one thing that I've tried to get across to all these people is that football is supposed to be fun. And I gotta be honest with you. If you're a Cowboy today, it's probably fun. But if you're an Eagle, it is not fun.
For Luis Zendejas, it's fun. Long field goals. Bunch of points after. 2nd and 9 for the Cowboys. Lauren Snyder trying to get down the sideline to Edwards, incomplete. And as we told you, one of the biggest crowds in the NFL today is right here in Dallas. 40,622 fans. The largest crowd for a replacement game over these first 2 weekends of this replacement schedule. And those are in-house fans actually here at the game. Yesterday, of course, the Texas University thereof got waxed by number 1 Oklahoma here at the Cotton Bowl. It's been a big weekend of football watching for fans coming out to the games in football crazy Texas. A high snap for Snyder. Nice recovery. Gets the ball off, and that's complete for the 1st down to Kelvin Edwards. Well, a 6'2" Edwards showing that he can get down low to make a catch. and certainly enhancing his chances at being one of the additional men on the Cowboys regular roster.
Well, here's a case where you got a quarterback. If he was any shorter than 6'4", he wouldn't be able to get the ball. And Edwards out to the right of your screen, he does a nice job of tipping it down, and he just fires it. Kelvin Edwards just continues to impress. He makes a nice turn in, gets down on the ball, winds up with the first down for the Cowboys.
At the 30-yard line of Dallas, takes out one of the officials on the sideline over there. Picked up about 5 yards.
He's 5'6". Ed Jones 6'9". That's like Wilt Chamberlain and Willie Shoemaker.
Yeah, that's one of the officials. That's the guy who got wiped out by little Alvin Adams over there, and he's going to need some attention on the sideline, working on the yardstick crew. And we may be seeing this young man next to quarterback Marty Horn, number 14. He's a first-year man out of Lehigh, was a free agent with the Jets a year ago. And there you see the unfortunate sideline official. Snyder intended for the tight end Rich Borison, and that is incomplete. Morrison is a rookie from Northwestern. Chuck Gorecki had the pressure on Lawrence Snyder. And still some attention being paid over there to the sideline official and all of the staff of the Cowboys around that unfortunate gentleman over there. Wiped out by David Adams. 3rd down and 4. Shotgun. Snyder in and out of the hands of Mike Renfro, the veteran receiver. Has not been out there a lot today, but has had a few plays, and that's the first pass thrown his way. 10-year man from TCU. Rhinestone Cowboy fan. And here's a look at the attendance. Some of the other attendance today. Not bad considering, I guess you could say, except in St. Louis there, only 11,000.
You know, truthfully, I thought it would go down after last week. But then again, it's in some different cities also where you have to consider. And for some cities, it's almost like the first look at, you know, what the National Football League is calling football.
That's right. For the Cowboys, because they lost a home opener here on the game that was canceled, this is literally their home opener. And it goes out of bounds, the punt at the 25-yard line. And we'll see whether or not Marty Horn gets some playing time. No, it's still Tinsley at quarterback. 39-yard punt by Buzz Sawyer, and the ball at the 25 for the Eagles with 13:52 remaining in regulation time, and they are way down 41-16.
Yeah, but you won't see any of them standing out there with their chin straps hanging down. That's one of Buddy Ryan's rules. No chin straps.
Right. Evidently, I guess he saw a player get hit in the eye with a flapping chin strap, and he made that a tough rule. There's a crunch by number 58, the linebacker Jeff Hurd from Kansas State. On Brown, Reggie Brown, number 24, and a loss of about a yard on the play. 2nd and 11. Pete Walters continuing to challenge the likes of Randy White and Don Smirrick. Right now, Smirrick is in and White is out. That is Alvin Ross, and he's stopped for no gain. Let's go now to Brent Musburger in New York.
Campbell's record for carries in a single game, but he fumbles. The Cardinals have recovered. About 2.5 minutes to go. Cardinals lead 24-19. Meanwhile, Soldier Field in Chicago. And in the 4th quarter, the Bears with the lead 20-7 after a field goal. Let's go back to Tim.
Okay, Brent, there was a flag on the last play here, and it's against Philadelphia, and it backs them up to their 13-yard line. You know, Chicago with their lead there could move to 4-0 atop the Central Division. St. Louis could cut the Saints down to 2-2 in the Western Division lead. screen. The flags are down. Brown over the 20-yard line, driven out by Jeff Hurd. And number 20, Bruce Livingston. This time the penalty will be against Dallas. The game is deteriorating somewhat in terms of the miscues, and of course they're magnified by the fact that the score is 41-16, and we see this thing slowly slipping away.
Well, you know, it's the
92 defense lined up in the neutral zone. It'll be 5 yards and still second down.
The one thing about this football is, first of all, there's been a lot of penalties. You know, Philadelphia's had 8, Dallas has had 7. But the problem you run into in this kind of a situation is this is where the injury factor starts to go up in a game. The players start to concentrate a little less. They start to take it a little bit easy. You've got to go full intensity, whether you're a replacement guy or regular guy, or you could get hurt. The Cowboys have to be concerned a little bit because they've still got some of their starters in.
A first down pass completed out to Kevin Bowman, the first-year man from San Jose State. Good effort there by the Eagles to get themselves out of the hole. Upfield to the 36-yard line, pardon me. 12:26 remaining on the clock. Bowman comes out. Mike Ciano goes in.
Buddy Ryan's got to like a little bit of what he sees in number 11, as he would refer to him.
Yes, he would. And has. And a flag down again, but the pass complete to the tight end Repko. Pickup of about 8 on the play, and first final score of the afternoon is in. New England over Buffalo 14-7, and the Patriots now pulled to 2-2, and Buffalo falls to 1-3. It almost pains me to read those standings results as they count.
10 yards, still first down.
Penalty is against Pete Walters for holding. And when I say that, it's not that I disagree with the fact that they ought to be counted. I think that they should be counted. You're selling tickets on the basis that it's a real game. And if the customers are going to come, they should expect to see a game that counts for something. I think that's quite a simple issue, even though the players are trying to have those results thrown out. Reggie Brown flags down again, and we have had a penalty on about 4 consecutive plays here.
You know, this is the referees in a game like that. I would hope the infraction's a little bit obvious. I mean,
defense in the neutral zone.
Somebody's got to explain to these fellas what the neutral zone is. I think, you know, in the meeting this week, Coach Landry should hold the football and put it on the ground and say, fellas, you can't have any part of your equipment in the area of the football. It's called the neutral zone. And go back to the basics a little bit. To be honest with you, I wish the referees would just sort of ignore the neutral zone, no harm, no foul, and just move this thing along a little bit. Let's face it.
11:42 to go.
Either that or put somebody in charge of the Cowboys lining up in the neutral zone.
First and 15. Hensley pumps once, goes deep for Grant. He's got it. Flag down. Grant's all the way down to the 31-yard line of the Cowboys. A flag down behind the play.
That's going to be pass interference by the Cowboys. That's one of those stop and goes. And Grant just makes a great move on Robert Williams and manages to go by him. Williams bid on it, and he wound up going by him for the catch.
38-yard
Illegal
gain.
contact. Defense, number 20, is declined. Result of the play is a completed pass. First down.
Bruce Livingston, the culprit.
Here you see as the ball goes up, Tinsley's going to go back in the pocket, looks to his right a little bit, makes a little fake. There's the pump fake again. We talked about the aggressiveness of the defensive backs. And there's Bruce Livingston getting beat. Again, one of those guys that Buddy Ryan liked, number 81.
Otis Grant from Michigan State, a draft of the Rams in 1983. First down, Eagles. Approaching scoring territory. Reggie Brown got only a yard out the right side. Dropped by Bill Hill, number 31. Well, Well, when the football is completed today, our usual fine Sunday evening slate of programming on CBS, 60 Minutes, will feature Mrs. Jessie Jackson talking publicly about her husband, something she does infrequently. Tonight on CBS following 60 Minutes, Angela Lansbury stars in Murder, She Wrote, and Mark Harmon will be the star on the CBS Sunday movie tonight entitled After the Front. Tinsley on 2nd and 9. That's complete, wide open and dropped. Inside the 15, out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Forced out by Russ Swan, and the Eagles moving the football.
Again, through the air, like we talked about, they're not going to be able to run against the Cowboys. There's Scott Tinsley, 22 for 32, 329 yards, 2 TDs. Still got over 10 minutes to go in the quarter. He could wind up with a 400-yard game. But of course, only down by 25. Why not put it up, right?
Why not? Touchdown from Wake Forest, an 8th round pick of these Dallas Cowboys a year ago. Didn't make the power-packed offense of the Cowboys. Turns up playing against them here in replacement football.
This is just some great execution by Tinsley. He just hangs in the pocket, makes the throw over the middle. There's the catch. Now the thing to do is just head for the end zone, find it, and Topper tops in. Didn't have to go over the top, though.
Dave Jacobs at the point after, and that is blocked. 10:30 remaining. Regulation time. Cowboys 41-22. Stadium, the Eagles have just scored. Scott Tinsley to Topper Clemens from 13 yards out to close the margin 41-22. The point after was blocked, but it's been all Dallas here. They opened a 21-0 lead with Kevin Sweeney at quarterback. Some fine pass receiving by Kelvin Edwards, and that's how it stands here, 41-22 as the Eagles try the onside kick. Jeff Hurd made the catch of the onside try, and a flag down on the play. Looks like it's against the Cowboys.
Offside, receiving team.
And it is offside against Dallas. Another final score in San Diego over Tampa.
58, receiving team offside, cross the line before the kick and be 5 yards and re-kick.
It's not one of those things you see called frequently, but they still cannot cross the 35-yard line. They have to stay 10 yards away. There's a neutral zone there of 10 yards that the players have to stay away until the ball is kicked. You see right here, he's over the line. He's lined up. This is your 10-yard distance right there. He's got to stay on that side of the line till the ball is kicked. He doesn't do it. He cheated. See, he snuck up there. You can't do that. Makes a nice catch there.
So the Eagles will take it out from the 40-yard line, and they're lined up in the onside try again here. Practice makes perfect. That one goes off the Cowboy, and it's touched by an Eagle inbounds or not? I think it was out of bounds.
Oh, he would have had it if he caught it.
Yeah.
If he had managed to pick that up, it would have been the Eagles' ball.
Kevin Bowman, number 83, pretty close. He almost pulled that off. But it is Dallas ball. 10:21 to go.
There you see. Now, Jacob kicks this exactly the way you should kick it. Low and hard, try and hit a player. There you see it gets by. It bounces off a Cowboy. Now, right there, if he catches that ball, which he tries to do, I guess it snuck away from him, it would have been the Eagles' ball. Almost good execution.
Another final score in Miami, 42-0 over Kansas City today. Lauren Snyder is the Cowboys quarterback. Kelvin Edwards goes wide left. He's had a big day for Dallas. And to give it to E.J. Jones. Or make it Blunt. Alvin Blunt, pardon me, number 28. The rookie from Maryland is stopped by Matt Battaglia after a gain of 1.5 yards. Well, the Eagles,
huh?
yeah, they have struggled, and like Minnesota, like the Giants, they were late assembling a replacement team. Several of the teams around the league, including Dallas, prepared back in training camp for the possibility of a strike, signed up a lot of contracts to contingency contracts to players, and were ready to bring them back. Players who had been through camp and knew the system, and it has paid off in a painful way for the Eagles today, with the Cowboys showing their togetherness and their sense of the system, and the fact that the veteran players along the defensive line just have dominated the line of scrimmage for Dallas.
That's really where it all fell, I think, for the Cowboys this afternoon, is the dominance of their defensive football team. They're tough against normal football teams. When you get a bunch of kids out there that really haven't played together and don't really understand the game that well, you wind up with even a bigger mismatch.
D.J. Jones picked up 5. It's third down, and that's complete to Edwards. Edwards breaks loose down the sideline, and again, it's going to be called back. He's in the end zone. There'll be no touchdown. He stepped out of bounds back almost where he caught the ball at the 43-yard line of the Eagles.
Just another one of those turn-in pass. See Snyder go back and just fire it out to the side. And we talked about how big he is. Catterbone just can't hold on to him. Now, if he could stay in bounds, but right there, he's going to step out. There's his right foot go out of bounds.
So it's first down for the Cowboys at the Eagles' 43-yard line. Talking to Edwards yesterday, asked him about his idols in this game and the NFL, and he said John Jefferson and James Lofton. And when I asked him who he thought he was most like, he said, well, I guess Lofton. And I thought, well, maybe he's going to say because I'm fast and I catch everything and I can outrun everybody, but he said because I'm about the same height.
That's right.
He sees himself as a tall receiver. So loose ball on first down. Lawrence Snyder trying to get control of it. A little mishap on the exchange, and it is Eagles ball. Philadelphia has recovered the football at their own 45-yard line.
Listen, we talked about the position in this game. You've got Bob White in at center now, and it's one of those, you've got replacement guys that haven't been together. Snyder just doesn't get the handle, and the balls, it's a free-for-all. I'd have to say that the centers are very, very key, not only in the special teams area, but also on the replacement squads, just to get the snap. That seems to be a major accomplishment for everybody.
Tinsley intended for Alvin Ross sneaking out of the backfield and dropped there, but he wasn't going anywhere anyway, because right on top of him was Chris Dulabon. A flag down again, and we have had a bunch of yellow hankies out there in this second half. 8:40 remains in the fourth quarter.
Tinsley 23 for 34, 339 yards, 3 TDs this afternoon.
Early use of the hands, number 51 defense, 5 yards and first down.
Dale Jones picks up the penalty, and here's a look at the teams that are out with all of their players 100% on the picket line, and it's certainly costing Philadelphia. They will fall to 1-3 with a loss here at Dallas today.
And the one thing to talking to Buddy about his football team is they're a young football team that needs to play a lot anyway to get that experience.
Reggie Brown is dropped behind the line of scrimmage on the screenplay try, and it is Russ Swan, the linebacker number 57, doing the job.
And they're just not getting it. They're regulars, I guess let's call them the regulars or the varsity, really was starting to come together after a year under Coach Ryan, making some changes, making some adjustments. Randall Cunningham beginning to become a leader on the Eagle football team. Now he's got to be a leader outside, holding a stick and a sign that won't let him play football. That's not gaining the kind of experience he needs.
Sure isn't. This is really tough on a team like the Eagles. They're not the only team suffering that way. Certainly one of the significant ones. Tinsley, and pass incomplete, intended for the tight end, for the wide receiver, Siano, number 86. Don't forget, more football ahead today. Our doubleheader action features Washington at the Giants, and of course that ties into this result here today, because Dallas will move to 3-1. Washington is at 2-1, and the Giants, should they lose today, would be 0-4. That would be disastrous for the Super Bowl chance. Some of you will see San Francisco at Atlanta, and the 49ers going in at 2-1, Atlanta at 1-2.
Well, the other thing too is the Giants were struggling with their regulars on the field. Now to dig this much of a hole for them with the replacement players almost seems insurmountable.
3rd and 11, and that is incomplete, intended for number 89, Repko. And now let's take you to New York once again, Brent Musburger.
Predicted today's upset would be San Diego over Tampa Bay. For the Chargers, it was all uphill. But then with 13 minutes to go, Rick Neuheisel hit Tim Moffitt with his touchdown pass. Neuheisel 18 of 22 for 217 yards in the win. Back to Tim.
Whoever would have thought you'd be describing San Diego over Tampa Bay as an upset, but that's what the replacement ball is all about. Inside the 10-yard line, Cornell Burbage calls for a fair catch, and Dallas will have the football with 7:36 to play and a big lead. Zip. And since that time, apart from the effort on the part of the Eagles, this has not been much of a tilt. The replacement band, I guess, at least maybe some of those guys left. I'm not sure. However, college football, varsity variety, returns next Saturday on CBS, and you'll see Penn State and Syracuse, or number 2 ranked Nebraska against Oklahoma State. And those sound like two exciting college games at 2:30 Eastern Time next Saturday on CBS Sports. Don't ask us where we'll be Sunday. We don't know. Sure. We don't know.
We're supposed to be in Buffalo.
We are. Yeah.
Giant game.
Well, Mike Dwyer,
And another week of, look at it. See?
well, he's one of the boys now. He's out there smooching it up with Eric and Randy. Hey, Randy. Hey, Don, what do you say?
You see, Randy, I got my hands on the guy now. Now, next time the guy does this, do you think what I should do? You know, before he was asking him about things, now all of a sudden he's saying, you know, Randy, I think you ought to just get that hand up a little higher.
Who are you supposed to find beers later in that group? Defensive line.
That's one advantage you can take of a rookie.
First down, and a pickup of Blunt for a gain of maybe a yard at most. It'll be 2nd and 9. As Dwyer's counting the house now, I think.
Yeah, well, man, he might get a percentage of the growth. It could be one of those deals.
I wonder how many of those programs he bought to send all his relatives.
Well, there they are. There's the front four. You know, I mean, if you were just tuning in, you'd say, oh, it's a regular game. The front four, Ed Jones, Randy White, all there.
Snyder complete out to Kelvin Edwards.
That's Edwards' 6th catch of the afternoon. 102 yards. There's a young man who's got a 100-yard receiving day.
Out of Liberty Baptist. That was Jerry Falwell. College. Not sure there's any connection there.
Oh, really? Now, what is it?
Big piece of trivia for you.
Okay.
I don't think Jerry had anything to do with the kids day today.
I don't, you know, you never know. Eagles got the ball again. Hey.
Fumble on the play.
Again, we talked about Snyder. It's just a question of handing off. He tries to get it to Blunt, who sits there, and he starts to run before the quarterback gets him the football. Can't do that. It's the old basic, you know, give the guy a pocket, sit there, let him put the ball on your stomach, and then move along.
Kelly Kirchbaum, the man to recover it, as we watch Kevin Sweeney helping out to organize for the next series.
He's got a little cheat sheet underneath trying to figure out what that play was so we can write it down on the charts.
Kelly Kirchbaum was originally a Jet. Now a new quarterback for the Eagles is Marty Horn from Lehigh.
Or if Buddy Ryan would refer to him, 14 Green.
14 Green, another former Jet. And he completes his first pass inside the 10-yard line to Jay Repko. Marty Horn, a free agent with the Jets a year ago out of Lehigh, 6'2", 206-pounder. He's 24 years of age. Kevin Bowman comes in. Ciano comes out. Bowman delivering the play. Eagles want to get some more points here. 7-yard line, 6:20 remaining. welcome to the NFL. Ed Too Tall Jones introduced himself. Marty Horn.
Let's go back to that matchup that we had earlier. Here's Pete Walters. Here's Randy White. Now the two of them lock up on one another. And, you know, he said he'd try a few different techniques as the afternoon went on. Now this is technique number 4. It's called holding. He liked the other ones he had. Of course, Ed Jones on the other side, wreaking havoc in the backfield.
But you know that Walters holds a powerlifting record in the state of Minnesota.
He's going to have to hold on to Randy White.
He's going to use it all there. Horn to the corner. Grant just out of his hands. Incomplete. Otis Grant couldn't quite squeeze that. He knew he was coming to the corner of the end zone. One more stride, he could have had the ball, but then he would have been out of bounds. Rams with an early lead over Pittsburgh. Word out of Atlanta is that Joe Montana will start that football game, and the Giants are leading Washington 3-0 in the first quarter.
You know what? It's always going into the Giants Stadium that's been a real psychological thing for the Redskins.
Third down for the Eagles at the 15-yard line of Dallas. Horn gets some time, almost picked off. Intended for Grant, and the coverage by number 48, Alex Green from Indiana.
They bring everybody up to the line of scrimmage. Now here, Horn's just going to set in the pocket. He thinks he sees his receiver open, and he does, except that the Cowboys, they do a great job of double covering, in and out receivers, and that time Grant didn't have a chance. They actually got lucky again. Another dropped interception in the end zone. We saw Swan have one in the other end zone earlier in this quarter. Now Green dropped one.
Fourth down. Horn to the corner for Grant. That's overthrown. Double coverage on Grant in any event, and the Cowboys have stopped the Eagles cold again. And the ball goes over to Dallas with 5:21 to play, and Marty Horn getting his licks in, but unable to come up with any points. Houston defeated Cleveland today 15-10. See what that does for the Oilers. That makes them 3-1 in the Central Division, and Cleveland falls to 3-1.
No, 2-2.
2-2, pardon me, 2-2. First down, Cowboys. It'll be Lawrence Snyder continuing at quarterback, number 18 from Northern Colorado. Alvin Blunt got a couple. Middle of that Eagles line stacks him up.
Danny White having a chance to play a little bit of football this afternoon. You know, the thing about his wrist, here you see him signaling the plays as well, is he cannot bend his wrist all the way back. They didn't realize that there was ligament damage when they set it in a cast earlier on after last year's injury, and you'll see his right wrist, it just doesn't go back, which has really made him change his throwing motion. And he's fine in warm weather, but when as the year gets on, it gets a little cooler. It'll be interesting to see how his throwing motion changes.
Alvin Blunt may have another Dallas first down at the 25, tripped up by Carlos Bradley, number 59, 6-year NFL veteran out of Wake Forest, stints with San Diego and Cleveland.
The way the Cowboys are going now on the field, as this stadium is set up, when the sun sets around, well, 3:15 Texas time, you just can't see when you come to the line of scrimmage as a quarterback. There's an idea what it looks like. If that is in the eyes of the quarterback. As you zoom on down, you see it right there. You just can't see anybody in green.
I wonder when they're going to fix this hole in the stadium.
When they get some money from it.
Out the left side, that is E.J. Jones digging for about 5 yards near the 30-yard line. We mentioned Joe Montana starting for the 49ers at Atlanta today. He is joined by Joe Cribbs, Russ Francis, and Dwight Clark. And those are 4 starters in offense for the 49ers against Atlanta today. Francis coming off injured reserve, may not be a starter on the regular 49ers if that season resumes. And Dwight Clark had been bothered with knee problems and had lost his starting job temporarily, at least to Mike Wilson. But nonetheless, that's an imposing group to start.
We saw a shot of Buddy Ryan. You know, the guy's really caught in the middle of this thing. are the coaches. They don't know. You know, their games count, so obviously you want to do the best job you can. I'm sure that's why Bill Walsh wants to play Montana, Cribbs, Francis, and Clark. I mean, you got to go out and try and win, because if or when this whole thing gets settled, you're going to get right back into a regular season.
Well, here's what happened last week. 6 victories for the teams that had some players across the picket line.
But you see, I can't go along with it, although that graphic says what the facts are. The thing is, a lot of the coaches chose not to play the players. This is going to be a better week to be more indicative of the players that crossed the line as opposed to those that didn't. Last week, guys came in so late they didn't really get a chance to get into it. Landry was concerned from a mental aspect of people like Dorsett and White playing, so that's for his reasons not to play. This week's reflections on who's going to win, who's going to lose will be a better indication of the dominance and the difference in the quality players in the National Football League and those guys that weren't quite of the top-notch quality to be able to get in.
There's Tony Dorsett. He had a few plays in this game. Early in the second half, he scored a touchdown, and otherwise he's not been out there at all. And we'll be back at the 2-minute warning. What? They look like Troy West in that commercial.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Guy in the background? Behind
Sure
Pickett?
did. You know, we ought to bring up a Troy West.
Tim Ryan and Joe Theismann hanging in there with you. 2 minutes to go. Dallas leads Philadelphia 41-22. Next week, the Eagles will be at Green Bay. Washington will be at Dallas.
That's where they're supposed to be.
And Dallas with their second home game in a row. Now, we don't know whether we're going to have those games for you on CBS. That's a decision to be made by the powers that be during the course of the week, and depending on what else is going on in the strike picture, of course. Alvin Blunt dropped behind the line, shakes it off, but then gets about a yard before he's tackled again, this time by Matt Battaglia, with help from Chris Gerhardt, number 46 from East Stroudsburg State.
You know, we've seen somewhat of an improvement, I think, throughout the league this week in special teams play, which was a real show last week. But now you start to see the difference in the technical aspects of not being in training camp, and that has to do with the tackling, the fundamental tackling, and particularly of guys downfield, of a back, you get a shot in the backfield. Those are the little elements in the game that become laxed and become more obvious to look at.
San Francisco, you saw, with an early lead with their veterans back on offense. So we're kind of third down here and 6. Lawrence Snyder, and intended out to the right side for Chuck Scott, incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down for Dallas. You know, 40,000 here, home opener as it turned out for Dallas, but it's a beautiful day here. I mean, if things go on, even those hardy, die-hard fans in Green Bay, I've got to believe on a bitter day, if the game is this quality, it'd be hard for me to believe they're going to have folks out there.
I agree.
27-7, the Bears over Minnesota, and Chicago moves to 4-0. And the Vikings are now 2-2.
Well, the Bears in their quest to get back to the Super Bowl.
That was Thomas Caterbone trying to make a return of that punt, but he is dropped at the 15-yard line, where the Eagles will have it with 58 seconds to go. And remember, stay tuned for doubleheader action. The game is underway at Atlanta. Those of you who will be watching that will see the 49ers on top early. Washington at the Giants, and the Giants struck first there with a field goal. And as we point out, the Super Bowl champions really in desperate straits. They must have a victory there today to salvage their season. It really comes down to that. It would be virtually impossible. You'd have to have major collapses by Dallas and Washington, the Eagles the rest of the way, for the Giants to climb out of a hole and saw them at 0-4.
And they've already lost to Dallas as well.
Marty Horn, and that is complete. Out the right side to Kevin Bowman, number 83. First down, Eagles.
He gets to tell his friends that, you know, he played against the Cowboys in Texas Stadium. It's something to be, be a quarterback in a nice place like this, place you never get a chance to visit, never get a chance to see. Come out, complete a pass.
Gets some protection, and it's in and out of the hands of Alvin Ross. Ross just took a little look upfield, it appeared, to see how much room he had to work, and the ball arrived, and he couldn't hold on. Now the Redskins have tied it up against the Giants in the first period.
Who do you think are the strongest replacement teams?
Well, gosh, I don't know. I mean, if you look at the rosters, we've only seen a few of them, Joe. It's hard,
from what
to
you
say.
hear.
I have to tell you something. I really don't care. I mean, I got to tell you the absolute truth. I don't care. I think it's just so meaningless that it doesn't matter. I mean, I'll give credit to the managements that had the foresight to have a lot of guys in camp. But, that'll be a hollow victory. I mean, so you outsmarted your fellow owners, if you want to call it that. I don't think I need to expand any further on that. 30 seconds.
I think you better not. I think you'd be good to just hold it there. Bring in the cold water.
No, but I mean, I think that most of the fans, I think I'm reflecting most of the fans' view. That's why the stadiums aren't full, and that's why I don't think we've got too big of an audience watching television today.
Well,
I think will be shown.
I think the integrity of the game is beginning to become at stake. It would behoove everybody to sit down and try and work this whole thing out, because the quality of a great game like this just isn't what anybody expects.
Well, I got to give.
And it's funny, even the guys on the football field. We talked to Elo Grooms, and he was talking. Said these kids go out around the city of Philadelphia and they walk around like, because they're in a green uniform, everybody thinks they're the Eagles, and if they're the Eagles, people are going to like them. That isn't the case at all. He goes home after practice, goes and hides in his room, and says, look, I just want to go do this. I need to do it for an economic reason. I'm not out here trying to.
I'm not a real Eagle.
And he's not an Eagle. I mean, he's really not. These are not the real Eagles. These are not the real Cowboys. They're just a bunch of guys in the same color uniforms making a living or doing what they have to.
Wearing the rhinestones. It's complete down to Kevin Bowman at the 32-yard line.
But Kevin Bowman's making the most of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're getting their shot and taking it. They're giving it their best try and having some fun and doing their best to entertain the crowd. They're doing what's being asked of them. Down at the 32-yard line, it'll be first down with 23 seconds left. You almost have to cheer for Marty Horn to get himself a score here, so that if this is his only NFL game, that he's got something to remember with it. Alvin Ross takes it out of bounds and stops the clock at the 25-yard line of Dallas. Taken out by Jimmy Armstrong, 17 seconds left. Well, Ed Too Tall Jones has gone the distance here today for the Cowboys. They did give Randy White a rest and brought in Randy Watts, a rookie from Catawba. And White's been kind of in and out of the lineup, but
Smerrick has played all the way.
Smerrick's played all the way, but as we pointed out, they only had really two backups on the defensive line, Otis Perkins, who's been in for a few plays, and Watts. Horn's got a man open, Otis Grant, and he can't quite climb up the ladder for the ball, and he's hit from behind by Alex Green, number 48.
Well, I think we ought to grade Peter Walters for the day, and I'd have to give him an A. I think he did a fairly good job against Randy White all afternoon.
Yep, I would agree with that. And he said he had his individual little battle out there. Here's a guy that hasn't played in 5 years, teaches at church groups, traveled with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes over the summer. He and his wife doing some work with that fine group, and saw this opportunity, needed the money. He's in a transition period as he's changing careers and needed a little stake, and went out there and gave it his best.
Yeah, he said I've got nothing to lose. He said Randy White is a great football player. Everybody knows he's a great football player. Me, I'm a nobody.
It's like a title match.
That's exactly what he said. He said, it's like a title match.
heavyweight fight.
Yeah, he's the big underdog, big unknown going in, and he really held his own. A lot of credit to the guy to go out, take a personal challenge on like that.
He saw Randy White as the Mike Tyson, that he was the Rocky figure in the battle. 4th down as that pass intended for Kevin Bowman was long.
Is there a Rocky figure out there to fight Mike Tyson?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of them. And the ball is dropped and recovered by the Cowboys at the 30-yard line. And the game is over here in Texas for Joe Theismann.